And we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and we're at Sycamore Crossing and Blue Ridge, Georgia. We want to thank the Georgia Cancer Specialist for this segment, and I'm joined now. Our good friend, Dr. William Whaley, is traveling, and we are visited by our friend, Dr. Raymond Tidman. How are you, Dr. Tidman?
Good morning. I'm good.
We're glad to have you. We love our Dr. Whaley, but it's always good to see you because you always leave us with something of humor, right?
Good.
You have a great sense of humor.
Well,
you've been told that before?
You've got to find something to smile about every day.
Thank you. You got to find something to smile about every day, and you can do it, getting through the day somehow.
Yeah.
I want to get to our questions, but before we do, there's a couple things in the current. The President of the United States has elevated here recently to a crisis level. He's calling it a crisis level with our opiates. What is the synthetic heroin again? What is the name of that? I forget the name.
Oxycontin?
Well, we have our heroin and we have our synthetic heroin. I forget the name of it. But anyhow, this opiate crisis, and the president has elevated that to a national crisis. Do you have any comments where that's concerned?
Well, it is a major problem. It's very disruptive to the healthcare system. Basically, the relationship with a doctor and his patient is one of trust.
Right.
And it's inherently one of trust. And yet there are people who are manipulating the system in order to get at narcotics to either abuse them or sell them and make money or both. The response heretofore has been for the regulatory agencies to come down on the doctors and say, well, you have to make this stop. You have to end this, which would basically put the doctor in a policeman role with their patient. You know, my inherent relationship with my patients is one of trust. Now, if I find someone's being mistrustful, if I find out someone is not taking their medicine or selling their medicine or abusing it, then I discharge them. But I'm not going to assume or believe that all the patients that are in there to see me are there to trick me or fool me. So it's a real fine line.
Is that, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but is that a gray area that belongs, would I say, to the physician, to that patient-physician relationship, that you have checks and balances on what you're prescribing and who may be gaming the system, or wait a minute, you've come back too soon for a prescription, and all those kind of things? Is that?
Well, there are all sorts of regulatory solutions that they're imposing. You know, from routine drug screening, you know, testing their urine, looking at how frequently they come in, whether they're asking for medicines between visits, whether they're showing signs of social dysfunction, and expecting us to document all those things, which are all appropriate. The difficulty is when the regulatory agency assumes that the doctor is enabling or making the patient more capable of doing these wrongs. And it's just not the role of the physician, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. The physician is there to help people solve their problems and to look them in the eye and be honest with them. The patients that are abusing these things, they literally practice. They're like going into the doctor's office on stage trying to figure out how they can fool the physician. Well, how is a trusting physician supposed to overcome that? So there need to be solutions to this. This is a major problem, but there are more external solutions that should come about on how to find these bad actors and deal with them.
Well, let me say this, okay? And what I say a lot of times is, you know, we say, don't get in, and I'm not going in a different direction, but don't get in our bedroom. We're Americans. We have our home. Don't get in our bedroom. So let me paint this picture. We'll get to this, but I like talking to you. Let's paint it to the actual exam room. Yeah. Let's take our picture there to the exam room. And when you go in that exam room, that belongs to the patient and the doctor at that time.
Right.
That's their room.
Right.
And I go in there sometimes and I see the poster for, you know, to prevent this and prevent that, and they're good things for me to read as we're waiting on you to get there. Sorry, did not imply anything. Okay, but they're good. Are we getting close to, in our room that belongs to you and I, patient and doctor, to the thing that says government checklist?
Yeah, cookbook medicine.
Are we getting used to, like, okay, while you're waiting for me, read the checklist that the government says you and I have to do
cover
in this room that belongs to us. Is
Right.
it, am I going down the right road?
It's approaching that, and that's one of the major problems with the whole government mandated health care, that they are injecting themselves into that room, and it's a fruitless, bad ending effort, because basically physicians and patients do their best work when they are in a trusting relationship.
Right.
We as humans have lots of things we're in pain from, physical pain and emotional pain, and we seek sometimes very dysfunctional ways of dealing with that pain. And it takes a trusting relationship to uncover that dysfunction. Whether you're dancing, as I say, with stupid, abusing alcohol, taking drugs, just doing dumb things that makes your mind dumb.
But you in that room is the place where I'm supposed to feel that I can talk.
You can talk, and we can uncover, and you can come to the realization that, you know what, this is not working.
But not physically, but in a way, the government's sitting in the room with us too.
They're moving in. They're trying to move
Right.
in. Physicians like myself are trying to resist that any way possible. And when they finally move into that room, I'm done. It's just not something I'm willing to take.
But you are concerned it's going that way?
I'm very concerned it's going that way.
Okay, let me go in another direction. Thank you so much for just being open to talk to me about this, and our viewers, because these are big things, and these are the actual real things that are happening, and not the sensationalized things that we see on some networks. How concerned are you that the Senate, everybody went home, and we have this limbo now on healthcare? Are we going to fix the ACA, and which many feel it can't be fixed? Are we going to make adjustments to it? Are we going to make supplemental payments to insurance? What are we going to do? On your side, how concerned are you that they went home and they've left this up in the air? And we learned that several other insurers are pulling out of several markets now, again.
Well, it's very concerning, just as an American citizen, that we have politicians who that their standard is so low that now it's acceptable for them to not solve problems. I mean, it's just unacceptable as an American to have people leading us who think it is acceptable to not solve problems. They're there to solve problems for the country, and they shouldn't go home till they've solved them. And they should get together, figure it out, work it out, negotiate it, bring all the different ideas together and solve the problems. So, I mean, that's what I'm concerned about. When they get that paralyzed or that intellectually lazy, then we're in trouble.
Okay, we have to move to the questions. Now, you know I could stay on these kind of topics, but we have to move to the questions. And somehow I feel out there, I guess I have to say I appreciate it, because you keep asking my questions. So one of our questions this morning is, I have sharp pains in my ankles at times when I am walking. Is this a sign of getting older? The question came in. Well, I am tired of a sign of getting older questions. It's like every week, that's what I get.
Well, that's an easy question, because, you know, if you're 20 and you have sharp pains in your ankle, I don't think you're getting older yet. So, but if you're at 90 and you've got some pains in your ankles, you're definitely getting older. So, all right, so let's get more serious. Pain in general, that's an important aspect. We just kind of hit on it there. When we're having pain, is it pain that we know where it came from? You know, did I step in a hole yesterday, twist my ankle, and now it's hurting for a few days? Yeah, there's a reason for that. But if there's no reason for the pain, and it's serious pain, it's something you're now avoiding your fun things. You're a bowler and you don't go bowling anymore. You like to garden, you're not going out in the garden. That's a serious pain. You need to get into your doctor and see somebody about that and try to find out what it is. It can be many, many causes. But, you know, the doctor doesn't need to see everybody for every little pain. So there's some maturity to it. But I think the bottom line that I would encourage people, particularly my men patients, because they tend to feel like that they're going to get over everything and that they never get older than 20 as far as their body goes. When you've got something hurting you and you're now avoiding what you like to do, get it looked at.
Is our second question, can weather changes trigger migraines?
So that's another good question, and let me just kind of use it to dive into another background part of it. Migraines are a serious disruptive, painful experience. And there are many forms of headaches. So one of the things that's helpful to the patient before they get into the doctor or as they're following up with their doctor for migraines is to keep a diary and to try to think of those things that are changing in their life. So sometimes it's too much caffeine, not enough caffeine, or caffeine that's alternating, where they drink a bunch of coffee one day and none the next. That can trigger a migraine. Sometimes it is extreme changes in weather, or maybe going from a really wet climate to a very dry climate could trigger migraines. You're not going to figure that out unless you're really trying to be systematic and looking at, well, what changed? What happened yesterday? And see if there's a pattern. Sometimes there's no pattern whatsoever. Sometimes it's very frustrating.
Right. So, but if you have frequent migraines, right, it would be good to journal them.
To journal them and
yes,
try to see if you with your physician can say,
so I can
okay,
bring that to you.
Bring it
and
in.
Okay, we see. You know, I know it sounds silly, but it was 55 degrees and they're happening in the morning, or you know, or
waking me up at night.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are very important notes for
right,
you when somebody comes in and wants to discuss migraines.
Yeah. So not only is it important in the doctor's role to take the history of how severe they are, where they hurt, what goes on with them. Are you throwing up? Are you nauseated? Are you seeing flashing lights? All those things. But the timing of it. When are they occurring? How long are they lasting?
Okay.
What's going on with them?
And that's important information to bring your doctor if you experience migraines. Some of us know what a caffeine headache is. I know a caffeine headache. I can spot one a mile away. But if you're experiencing migraine, as you hear this morning, and we're talking, your question is, is it due to weather, or can that bring on migraines? As you hear, maybe if you journal all the changes and the times they're taking place, that'd be very helpful when you talk to your doctor. The last question we have this morning, and I'm interested in this one. I've put petroleum jelly on the inside of my nose for years to relieve dryness. Is that safe?
It's safe, but the question is, why is your nose so dry? You know, our sinuses in our nose and our throat has to humidify the air. If dry air got to our lungs, as dry as it is sometimes, it would tear our lungs up. So our body has to humidify that air. That's one of the reasons why you see so many sinus problems in the winter, because people are going into a dry house. Cold air doesn't hold much moisture to start with, and you bring it into a heated environment, you drive more moisture out of it. Some of our homes in the wintertime can be drier than the Sahara Desert. So your sinuses are working overtime, trying to produce moisture to humidify that air, because the lungs have to be protected from that absolute dryness. They are a moist environment. So it's not going to hurt you to use something on your nose or to help with dryness or cracking. But if you're having to go to that extreme, then there may be something else going on that the doctor needs to know about.
So the petroleum jelly to prevent the dryness in your nose, it's safe, it's not going to hurt you, but if your nose is that dry, there may be something else
going on. Like having cracking around your lips or constant sores around your nose. Those can be a sign of other things going on, from vitamin deficiencies to chronic viral illnesses. You know, other arthritic complaints can cause those sort of dry events. So that is also something to approach your physician with.
Okay, we wanted to leave room this morning for one particular area. Last week, our good friend Dr. Whaley pulled up in, oh my God, a beautiful truck. I was like, wow. Okay, then I asked him, Sam and I asked him if he had learned where all the buttons and whistles are in the truck, and he said, no, I have an appointment this afternoon. So we're putting you on the spot with Dr. Whaley.
I see this coming.
He said, I have an appointment with the gadget guy this afternoon. Ray and Ray's going to show me my truck. How did that appointment go? How's Dr. Whaley doing with his truck?
We're still trying to connect. But there's a reason why my wife constantly brings me her iPhone to fix. So, you know, some of us have talent there and some of us don't. So, but we do have Dr. Whaley, you know, setting the temperatures and the air conditioning. We got him. The major things are ready, right? Right.
I just enjoyed that so much because I asked him, I said, Dr. Whaley, you know all the bells and whistles and buttons on the thing? He said, no, I have an appointment.
Let me tell you, sometimes now it's like an hour after they sell you the car to show you all that stuff. I mean, it's intense.
I understand. I wanted to say that, have a little fun with that. Okay. You know, I know it's a lot of pressure.
You're going to put me on the spot here.
I know. It's
all right, I've been racking my brain all morning, but I think I have a good one for you.
All right, because you know you're not leaving without telling me a joke. Now, folks, first of all, live, you get my expression. So now Dr. Tidman can tell me a joke that, whoa, this afternoon. I say, whoa. So
anyway, you may can believe this, but I had this young man patient in the other day. He was kind of scratched up, a little bruised, and I said, well, what happened to you? And he said, well, doc, you know, yesterday I had to walk like a mile along this lake. I had to climb out of this quicksand. I got into all these briars. I had to whack this rattlesnake, and I had to climb over 3 hills. And I said, geez, you're quite the outdoorsman. He said, no, I'm just a real crappy golfer.
Oh, no. I actually have taken some. Well, now you bring that up because I haven't played golf in a while. It's been a while, but I tend to play with the guy that's going to look for his golf ball.
Well, that's me.
He's going to look for it. He's not coming back till he finds it. He's not giving it to the snake. He's not giving it. No.
I mean, people assume doctors golf. I mean, I've played golf 4 or 5 times in my lifetime. I tell people I'm a member of the BGA, the Bad Golfers Association.
I am too.
And so, you know, to me, golf should be played like an Easter egg hunt. The further you shank that thing up in the woods, the more golf balls you're going to find looking for it. And so when you get all done with your game, it's like how many net golf balls are you up or down? And
if you cannot play golf, or you know, if it's not your best day, you can at least go home and say, hey,
I got 3 extra golf balls.
Yeah, that's right. I wear if and when I go, I wear the cargo shorts so I can fill my pockets, and I'm the guy that yells, I'm just going to drop one. But I always tend to play with the guy that has to go in the woods and find the golf ball. Dr. Tidman, thank you very much. We always appreciate you coming in, and we want to thank Georgia Cancer Specialists for sponsoring this segment, and we wish Dr. Whaley and Jane a safe trip as they travel, and we'll see them back next week. We're going to take a brief break. When we come back, we are going to have a candidate for Blue Ridge City Council, Nathan Fitz, with us. Thank you again, Dr. Tidman.
Thank you.
Take us to break, Sam.